Well, it's about 3 weeks to the opening game of the delayed 2024 African Nations Championship tournament. Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania will be hosting. That is from the 1st of February to the 28th of February. The draw is set for the 15th of January in Nairobi, Kenya, and that is where we will get to know who Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, or any other African country will be playing against. But usually, when such tournaments come around in different parts of the African continent, there is always a lot to do beyond the football. And in this episode that looks at African football, we'll be trying to look out at some of the things. You who is watching us, you have plans of coming to Uganda, you have plans of coming to Kenya, you have plans of coming to Tanzania. What are some of the activities that you will be doing beyond watching your favorite team play? Especially in the morning, you probably woke up, you don't have anything to do until the evening when football comes around. What are some of the things that you will be doing? The game is done, you don't want to go to bed that early, you're looking for activities to do within Kampala, within Nairobi, within Dar es Salaam, or even Zanzibar. So this show is going to help you enlighten or unveil or reveal all that. And I won't be doing that alone. I am joined by Mr. Andrew Kaggwa, a journalist with the Daily Monitor. First of all, Andrew, greetings, and thank you for allowing to be on this sports talk show.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be on a sports show. And you remember there was a time I used to do Twitter Spaces, and there was one episode where we specifically talked about sports.
Okay.
Just
in what line?
In the line of how the two can work together, how the art industry and sports can work together.
And we always forget that sport in itself is actually entertainment,
Yes.
especially in these parts of the world.
Yes.
Today you go watch local football or domestic sport, and you see how they try to distance themselves from the entertainment bit of it, yet they forget that they actually move in tandem.
Which I really find sad, because you see, in a country like Uganda, much as football is the most consumed sport, football does not get the love that music gets.
True.
So what other countries have done is to find a way of finding a connectivity. That's why you will find that we have the Super Bowl, where most of us might not even know
What is happening?
The Chiefs that won last year,
or how the game is played.
But we know Usher performed at the Super Bowl.
The halftime show.
Like, we know the halftime show. Like, at the end of the day, Super Bowl wins. It's not just Usher. Like, when they are counting the eyeballs that these millions of people watch the Super Bowl, they will not know that there were probably some 10,000 Ugandans who had no idea of what was going on the pitch, but they came for the entertainment.
Actually, the morning after the finals of the Super Bowl, there is a lot of talk of what happened during the halftime show than the game itself.
Yes.
The game is just a by the way. And just because of that, because later in the year you will be having the FIFA Club World Cup in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And FIFA have actually borrowed what happens in the Super Bowl. They will be having a halftime show on the final of the FIFA Club World Cup, but also bringing it back home here in Uganda. And for me, I think the sport that has mastered it the most is rugby. I don't want to think it is them as the leaders who run the sport, but it has everything to do with their sponsor, Now Special.
It has everything to do with their sponsor, but then the nature of where the game takes place, from
the environment, the
environment. Like, you see, before I knew so much about the game, I used to think it was a Kampala thing.
Okay.
And then when I started traveling and seeing where the game was taking place elsewhere, I noticed that wherever rugby happens from, there is a lot of life going on. You know,
it is no longer about Chadondo legends.
Yes, it's no longer about Chadondo legends. Because when I was in Jinja for Nyege Nyege, you know where Nyege Nyege was taking place from? Like, the rugby ground was somewhere
at the dam waters, next to the dam waters.
Yeah, the rugby ground was way close, and I think next to the rugby ground there was a pop-up show, a fashion show that was happening. So it's like the rugby grounds were busy throughout the Nyege Nyege festival, even when there wasn't a game going on at that time. And it's the same thing that happens with Chadondo and
Kings Park Legends.
Yeah, like there is something that is happening. Like even if you're to go there today evening, if there is no game, you will find a crowd there.
There's something Kings Park introduced called rugby chill. Like, I'm like, what is the rugby chill? But people just show up, enjoy a bit of beers, the network and all that. Now they have incorporated so many things. They have theme nights, DJs are playing at the rugby chill and stuff like that. Then our colleague, Swaib Kanyike, one time told me about something that happens at the Kings Park, just here in Boyogere, next to Nambole, which they call the Sunrise League.
Wow.
The Sunrise League is people enjoying themselves with a drink or anything or whatever throughout the night, until the sun comes up, before they go home. So people have a league of their own where they have the champion of the the Sunrise League.
So like sport and entertainment can work a lot together, and they can benefit. I mean, that's what boxing is doing right now, where they're doing those
the corporate boxing.
The corporate boxing. That time they had Shakib and Shakib was fighting
Kazora.
Yeah, Shakib and Kazora. Then you had Rickman and Grenade, and right now there is that whole talk of Alien Skin and Palazzo, which I don't think should happen.
Why, you have your reservations?
One of them is way better
in boxing.
Yeah, one of them is really trained.
Who is the better?
Palazzo is really trained. He's really trained, and he constantly trains. So it's way different of a person who is constantly training fighting with a person who is probably training for the fight.
Exactly. Now, the business element of it, I'll give again the example of the Boxing Champions League, particularly the fight between Grenade and Rickman. How these celebrities or musicians make money is them selling tables for people to come and be part of the Boxing Champions League or to watch them fight in action. And I'm told that Rickman made a reported 22 million Uganda shillings in selling tables.
Wow.
Like, that is the money he made on top of outside what he handed over to Uganda Boxing Federation and all that. And it takes you back to the example you gave of the Super Bowl. These artists are not paid to perform at the Super Bowl, but they have mechanics of how they actually make millions of dollars through their performance.
Kendrick Lamar just announced that he will be going on a stadium tour after the Super Bowl. So that's him performing.
Launched an album.
Yeah, and he just released an album. And there is belief that he might surprise us with a second album.
Okay.
Like either before Super Bowl or after Super Bowl, there is a belief that he might surprise us with a second album. So there are very many ways the entertainers actually make money when they engage directly with sport. And sport is also getting a spotlight on it. Because, I mean, right now, just look at the spotlight we've given boxing just for the time.
Arts industry.
The arts industry has given boxing some spotlight. Like we care that the sport exists, and who knows, probably those people will come back for the Champions League when it starts happening. So like these industries are intertwined, and other people have noticed it and have done something around it. Like there is it's so hard to see a basketball playoff in the NBA without that halftime performance. Last year, they even took it a notch higher by making sure it was all African, where they had Burna Boy, Rema, and Thames. So, like, these industries are supposed to coexist.
Yeah. And I think the arts industry, particularly in Uganda, have probably already noticed it, and they have embraced it. You have the Chan finals coming up next month in February, Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania. If a problem, I might ask you, how is the arts industry bracing itself for this to make sure that they probably make a killing out of it?
Now, the sad thing about the art industry in Uganda is I don't think they brace themselves enough for things. But Ugandans are somehow born ready. It's like they start getting ideas. It's like they start getting ideas when things are almost happening. Probably that's the reason why we do not benefit a lot from them, because it's like we do late time planning,
last minute planning.
Last minute planning. We start planning when we understand like, oh, it's coming. Probably I can do something about it. So we end up not benefiting a lot. We are not as intentional, probably say, as Rwanda, because the way Rwanda is doing things these days, I might not be shocked if they had such a tournament. They would probably invite an international artist in the middle of the tournament, well knowing that the players and their assistants and all the people that have come have extra cash to spend. So if you throw in an international artist, they will leave their savings there. But we've not been that deliberate, though. That doesn't take away the fact that Kampala is still East Africa's entertainment capital. It's still one of the most happening places in East Africa. So in bracing ourselves accidentally, not intentionally, in bracing ourselves, like Kampala naturally has things going on. The good thing is that this is going to happen almost after the hard days of January.
The 60 days of January.
The 60 days of January. So that means people are going to have some money and things will be happening. Concerts will have resumed. And this year, it's not like the past years. So this year, we've started on a roll. Because you see, the past years, the year could start and there is nothing happening basically at night. And then
on the entertainment scene.
Yeah, on the entertainment scene. And then we kind of wait until February. But right now, you see Spice Diana is having a concert like on 10th. And then after that, King Saha. So we are just
APAS on the 31st.
Yeah, then there is APAS on the 31st. So we are just going to build on that, I imagine. So by the time the games will be happening, Kampala will be fully awake. And nights, I think for any person that's coming, one thing they need to know is that every day in Kampala is kind of the same. Like Monday is same as Saturday, same as Friday night, same as Sunday night. As Sunday night. So they should be aware of that. And some bars are open. Like some bars do not close. We do not know where they are.
Some bars or bars. Just standardize it.
Like
bars
bars do not close. We do not know where their keys are. They closed during COVID.
Yeah.
And then some reopened during COVID. So they do not close. As far as happening around Kampala is concerned, any person that's coming is going to be sorted. They just need to come with enough money. But then, of course, Kampala is not just about the fun. It's also about the venues, the places. And when you're coming and you're spending a lot of money on the fun, you need to kind of minimize on your travel. And personally, I would recommend someone to go to places that are free or affordable, but they are still tourism places or places where they will learn something. They are destinations. Then I would recommend like the Rubaga Church. Unfortunately, I don't know if the Rubaga Church...
What would I want to do at the cathedral, Rubaga, if it's not prayers?
The cathedral was like, there was a time it was one of the biggest African churches, and it's the very first church that the missionaries, the Roman Catholic missionaries built when they came to Uganda. It's on, and when you're on that hill, you can see pretty much a lot of Kampala. And at the moment, at least as far as I know, people do not pay to tour the cathedral, unless it will change, but they do not. But the downside of that is that you do not really have a guide to tell
You're on your own.
You're kind of on your own, so you might need a Ugandan friend. The good thing is that Ugandans are friendly people.
Because you talk about the different places to be at, and Kampala being the capital of entertainment on the African continent. I have colleagues coming from Nigeria, journalist colleagues are coming from Ghana. Unfortunately, Ghana didn't qualify, but there's a friend called Noah Adams, and one time he was telling me, even if Ghana is in the group that is in Nairobi or Dar es Salaam, my base will be
Will
in
be
Kampala.
Kampala.
There's another one called Charles Adebayo. The draw is next week on Wednesday, and he's saying, I pray Nigeria
Is
is
in
in
Kampala.
a group that is in Kampala, because from what I've read, from the research I've done, I feel that I'll be more comfortable. I'll enjoy more when I'm in Kampala than all these other places. But you call it Uganda, the entertainment capital of the African continent. But outside, the bars not closing and all that. What are some of those other activities that bring Kampala to life throughout here?
I think the people, like Uganda has very friendly people, and to be specific, Kampala, we have very friendly people. They are willing to help you. They are willing to give you the information you need. And then the most important thing, because I've experienced it when I go to other countries, we have a lot of affordable food.
Affordable, nice food.
Affordable, nice food, and it's a variety. Because not to throw shade, but like I did not really enjoy my stay in Nairobi. Like I ate a lot. I ate a lot of ugali.
I enjoy
and
ugali.
Like I like ugali, but then if I'm overserved ugali, I'm like, okay, can I have something else? And it's the other issue I had, I think, in Zanzibar. Like I ate everything seafood. Like,
can I shock you? I don't know if you've experienced this. The last time I was in Nairobi, I ate a bit of matoke.
Where did you get that from?
Honest, not our chiganda matoke, but I ate a bit of
What, they were plantain?
Matoke,
Aye.
boiled matoke.
Aye.
Akatoboka matoke.
Wow. So like, cause I think when I was in Nairobi, I ate ugali with different things. I ate with chicken, with beef, with goat's meat. I was like, okay, this is too much matoke. I mean, this is too much ugali. So like, that's an advantage at least we have. We have a lot of food, and it's very affordable. And then there are all these places you're going to see for free. Like, for example, I say the Rubaga Cathedral. There is Baha'i Temple, which is the only temple
on the African
continent. And that one has a guide. And you can just give him whatever you feel like, because it's supposed to be a free tour. So usually it's up to you after you've toured and you're like, okay, let me give this guy some money. But then, of course, it's also important to come down to Uganda and you still leave some money behind.
True.
So there are these places like the palace,
the Lubidi, Kabaka's Palace in
Kabaka's Palace in Mengo. That one you pay. I'm not so sure of how much, but you pay some money. But then to walk the Royal Mile between the Parliament of Buganda and the palace, that one you do it for free. And mind you, the Royal Mile has like all the clans.
Yeah, sculptures of the different clans of
the different clans of Baganda. So that you just enjoy it for free. And remember, it's just adjacent to the cathedral. So you could just do all those probably.
Because the Rubaga Cathedral this side, then you have the Namirembe Cathedral also the other side. I think also the old Kampala Mosque is not far away
from there. Yeah, so they are those that someone can see. Kampala usually comes to life a lot at night. But it's also happening during day. On days, I think, when people do not have games, they could visit any rugby ground they feel like visiting.
I mean, I'm very sure by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. in Chadondo, there are people who are already enjoying their beer.
Yes.
There are people already enjoying a bit of chigere.
Yes.
And all those other things. You talk about, I've been to different cities, Andrew, and you go to a place and you try to look for something basic, and you can't find it. And the last time we were in Abidjan for the Africa Cup of Nations, I was telling people, in Kampala, you cannot move 360 degrees and you don't see what you're looking for. Like everything you need, you just have to.
What do you mean by basic?
No, like let me tell you. If let me say it, if I'm on the streets of Kampala and I wanted to withdraw money from my mobile wallet, definitely I can't move 100 meters and I've not found an agent.
Yes,
if I want to withdraw money from from the ATM.
Yeah.
I can't move 100 meters and I've not encountered an ATM.
I
If I want to move from
by the
point
way,
A to another, I just have to stand on the road and the border will be there in a minute to take me where I want to go.
That's so true. That's so true. And I think one of the most interesting things that that an international coming to Uganda needs to know is we do not have standard prices
for things unless you go to a supermarket.
So if it's out of the supermarket, please, it's okay to bargain. Like, it's okay to bargain, like
depending on your pocket.
Though of course you always need a Ugandan to guide you better, but you can bargain for everything. Like, you can bargain with your border guy. The good thing is that most of these people that are coming are going to be like Black Africans. Majority of them. So cause personally, I had a problem when I used to I still move with my helmet. And I think by the time I started moving with helmets, it wasn't a culture here. So it was just the Muzungu that used to move with the helmets.
The rest of us didn't really mind.
The rest of the people didn't really mind. So whenever I would stop a border and they saw me with a helmet, and then I had my locks, they were still short, the very first thing that came to their minds was I was foreign. And I remember there was a time I stopped a border and he told me, I told him I was going to the National Theatre, and he was, National Theatre, $50. So I looked at him. and by the way, he's the person that started talking to me in English. Like, I was going to talk to him in Uganda, like, hey, guy, Uganda wachi. But then he stopped and he was like, hey, good afternoon. I was like, good afternoon. I'm going to the National Theatre. I was like, National Theatre, $50. Thinking, like, dude,
a jan of $1. He wants to charge $50.
Yeah, because I had a helmet, which was common with Muzungu, and then I had dreadlocks, and probably because I had answered him in English, so there was no way I was Ugandan. So I think they are at an advantage that when they come, like today, there are more Ugandans moving with their own helmets. Like, they can easily blend in, and they can easily bargain.
But the bit of blending in, also there is the need to be very, very careful. Our minds have been switched in a way that you cannot freely move on the streets with your gadgets, holding your phone, recording anything, and all that. The reason why, for me, I always give the example of Abidjan. I was in Ivory Coast and I got a shock of my life. Like, you can freely move on the streets at any time, doing whatever you want with your gadgets, and you're actually safe, that nothing is going to happen to you. Like, I was like, if only all African countries were like this. Like, you move and people are giving you the assurance of nothing is going to happen to you. But you need to remind people that Uganda, or Kampala in particular, is not any of those cities you've been to, and you can freely move with your items. Anything can happen.
I think the beauty is that we are all Africans. And our situations are different, by the way, because there are places you'll be in, like, throwing Nairobi again. When you're in Nairobi, there are chances someone is going to take your phone, snatch your phone.
More than in Kampala?
It's the same thing with Kampala, and it's the same thing with Lagos. Like we are closer than we imagine.
We are cousins.
Like, we are cousins. But when you're in another place, probably you're in Kigali, you can kind of use your phone like freely as much as you want, but I'm not so sure it's safe to record.
In particular places, it's not safe to record.
Yeah. So it, like, being an African, at times it's a thing of someone will snatch your phone, or for security purposes. So, like, we all know in Africa, like, you do not just go and record. Like,
I've not encountered it in Uganda.
Yeah, but in Uganda, you will not record because someone will steal your phone. And I think
in very few places you will go to and security will stop you from recording.
Yeah, but in other places in Africa, it will be for security purposes. Not necessarily that someone will steal your phone, but for security purposes. So as someone comes to Kampala, they need to be aware that you do not just record. At least in Kampala, your phone will be stolen. Since we are co-hosting with Kenya and TZ, in Kenya, your phone will still be stolen.
Though you're free to record whatever you want from
though you're
anywhere.
free to record whatever you want from anywhere. It's all in Uganda.
Dar es Salaam,
it's a thing of personalities. In Dar es Salaam, Dar es Salaam is one of those quiet places. I pity people whose groups will be in Dar es Salaam.
Why?
I was in Dar es Salaam and the bar closed.
At what time?
At 10.
That sounds like Chigari.
Like a bar closed at 10, because I remember I ordered for my beer. I was with friends and we were like, can we pay for our next round? And then the lady tells us
closing in 5.
There will be no second round. In fact, we're waiting for you to finish and you leave. And they're like, it's 10. They're like, yeah.
At 10 p.m. in Kampala, the bar is just opening.
At 10, you're leaving work to go and join people. So like people that will be in Dar es Salaam, they need to be like.
And Zanzibar, because there's also a group that is going to be in Zanzibar.
Zanzibar is fun, and Zanzibar is going to be. You see, Zanzibar has one of the biggest festivals of music
around that time.
February. Sauti za Busara. So those people are not going to come back with any money.
In Zanzibar?
Yes.
Whoever is going to Zanzibar is returning broke.
They are not going to come back with any money. They are going to be very, very broke, because when Sauti za Busara is on, like, a lot is happening.
You know the dates?
I'm not so sure, but it's usually a February festival. It has never been out of February. It's a February festival. So when it happens, there are other fringe events that happen in Zanzibar, at the Stone Town to be specific. So the festival is happening, but then someone holds like a food carnival around, and there is like a local music carnival also going on. So like all these things like fall in the same week. So you have a lot of food being sold. You have a lot of music going on even outside the festival. There are chances that you end up trying many of these things. And okay, it's usually an experience of a lifetime, by the way. And then the festival itself has a couple of performances they program out of the festival grounds, just on the streets. So the people that are going to Zanzibar, one, are going to have fun, but they will spend all their money. Then the other thing about Zanzibar is you've been to Zanzibar?
No, I'm not.
Man, like when Ugandans go to Zanzibar, one, they struggle because it's very hard finding someone that speaks English.
The communication
Zanzibar.
bit of it,
yeah. And then
Swahili all through.
I
think that's like Dar es Salaam, you'll encounter people who speak English, but the majority is Swahili. And
then you're likely to get lost about at least twice every day, because the houses look alike. So
the GPS does not work.
So like you slept here, but then you leave where you slept and you turn around and you see another house looking exactly the same as the house you slept in. So when you return at night, because remember, when you return at night, you're a bit high, like, you've listened to some music, you're happy. There are chances you'll bump into many houses that are not your houses. Like,
Andrew, let's try to flip the coin from a Ugandan perspective. How much are we going to benefit from hosting this tournament? Now I'm talking about the average Ugandan, the businessman, the person selling stuff on the streets, or having a retail shop, riding a border or cab or stuff like that. How is a Ugandan going to benefit from this tournament coming into this place?
The Ugandan or the country?
Well, the country, yes, but then there's this ordinary person who probably has been bastardized by the country for long, but they still go out to hustle every day.
Have you seen the Masaza games?
Yeah.
You see, Masaza happened when the final at Nambole happened the same day I was going to Jinja for a friend's dance show. And we sat in jam. We sat in jam for 2 hours and a half. That's on
a journey that is averagely 45 minutes.
Yes. For 2 hours and a half, because there were all these vans, taxis,
from Chagwe.
Yeah, from Chagwe. And those people were very many. So an ordinary Ugandan is going to benefit, but you cannot benefit when you're out of it.
Yeah.
By that I mean, say, if I'm selling charcoal, there are chances I might not directly benefit from there because the people that are coming might not be interested in charcoal.
But the person who is cooking food for the people who are coming is going to purchase charcoal from you.
Yeah, but a person might not notice that they have directly benefited. Yeah, they might not notice. So the people that end up usually benefiting are the people that tend to answer to the needs of the people that are there. For example, if by any chance I have South Africans, I need to stock whistles. Like
Vuvuzelas whistles.
Vuvuzela, but whistles mostly. Like South Africans have whistles in clubs.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the music is playing and the DJ just plays their jam, and before you know, they have a whistle out, and you're like, "Why did you get a whistle?"
Okay.
So I would get whistles and vuvuzelas for South Africans.
Unfortunately, they didn't qualify.
Yeah, unfortunately. But if they were, I would. It's a very, very big part of their celebration method.
I think the people who are going to benefit the most are also those in the transport sector.
Yeah, the transport sector must definitely benefit, more so the borders, because trust me, at the end of the day, those people will sit in traffic trying to go to the stadium once or twice, the supporters, and on a third day they will want to jump on a border.
True.
So the borders will benefit if a person that's been selling Ugandan kits continue selling them, because I imagine people will want to buy some souvenirs. And if we can get other Ugandan souvenirs that are not necessarily the kits, they should also be at the stadium. Like personally, whenever I travel, I feel like getting something from the country I've gone to. I mean, that's how I ended up with this bracelet.
This is from Kenya.
Yeah,
this one's even in Kampala.
They're in Kampala, but I was buying a lot of bracelets at that time, which I ended up giving out to other people because people kept coming home and taking them. So this is one of those that stayed, but like I like the fact that I managed to purchase that from there. So there are many of those people that are going to come and they would want to buy something authentically Ugandan or something that can remind them of Uganda. So as you're selling your Ugandan kits, it wouldn't be bad to stock in that small wall drum. That drum, the small ones that someone can just put on a string and hang on the wall, because the drum is authentically ours. True. Like each African society has a drum, but ours is ours. Like it looks like that. No one has a drum that looks like that. So those things that are Ugandan, people should stock on them, because they are the things people want to hold on to after the tournament is done. Which countries are coming? Okay, the draw is not yet out.
No, of course, but the countries that have already qualified, of course, you have Morocco, you have Nigeria, you have Sudan. They've already qualified. You have DR Congo, you have Congo Brazzaville themselves. I think you also have Mozambique. Okay, don't really have these traditional giants. Cameroon, because they didn't qualify. Ghana didn't qualify. South Africa didn't qualify. But at least you have countries that we know that also play a football on the African continent that are coming, but also probably the other bit we forgot to tell about people are the Kasubi tombs.
Yeah, the
The place where
yeah.
the Uganda
Kings
kings
are buried.
are buried.
Yeah,
I feel it's also a good place for people to visit.
Yes, definitely.
And you have guides there who can take you through the historical heritage.
Yeah.
But also to let people know that the things to do or happen are not only in Kampala. I mean, you have Entebbe.
Yes.
Like we did say, Jinja, where you have the source of the Nile, is just 45 minutes away from Kampala. So on that day when you have nothing to do, there are lots of activities, even outside Kampala, that you can actually enjoy.
But you see, like earlier we talked about the palace, the King's Palace, the palace and the Royal Mile, and then the Parliament of Buganda. But something about the palace is, because for many people that are non-Ugandans, the one thing they first knew about Uganda was Idi Amin. And the palace, when you get the entire story of the palace, behind it is where Amin created a torture chamber. Which still exists. Of course, it's not a torture chamber now, but people can go visit and they are told stories about it. And it was maintained in a way that even the writings, some of the people that died from there left on the walls are still there. So I think that would be some good history for people that will be coming to find. You mentioned Jinja. Between Jinja there is Mabira, which is like one of the biggest greens we have in this country. So I think there is a lot that people can actually get to see. Yeah.
And of course, you individually excited, looking forward to the tournament? Or?
Yeah, I always look forward to the tournaments. Funny thing, being in the art industry, people do not know what we're usually looking out for. We're looking out for those celebrations, like some people can have very signature celebrations that stay with you, but above it all, I'm usually more interested in the kits
of the different
countries. These days, kits are no longer just kits. They are almost a statement. It's like
for a tournament like China, you don't think countries will really outdo themselves, but
countries do not really outdo themselves, but sometimes their sponsors still outdo themselves because some of their sponsors technically release a kit every year. So you would still want to see what they are coming with. Is there something that we are going to stay with for some time? I mean, you remember that Nigerian kit? There was one kit from Ghana, I think,
the one that had exchange bit of it on the sleeves and on the collar.
Technically stayed with us, and there was another one from Nigeria which I think was like very, very dark green, and it's like it had patterns of leaves, something
for the 2018 World Cup, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So you would like to see if there is something outstanding that their kit sponsors have come up with. Basically, like, there are things we also look out for which have nothing to do with us.
Exactly. And for me, I just hope, because ever since the Ghana Cranes returned to Nambole, one of their sponsors, probably also I feel the biggest sponsors of Ugandan sports, and now special, have tried their level best to create activities that engage fans.
Yes.
Especially at Mandela National Stadium. MTN also recently returned as the sponsors of the Uganda Cranes. Now, the unfortunate bit for them that at the time when they came around, nobody wasn't around, and we were playing games away from home. But you could see that they tried to organize festivals or fan watch parties in downtown Kampala and all that and stuff like that.
I wish they throw in like tournaments, fans tournaments.
But you feel that's a problem. When the tournament comes around, you would want those activities to continue for people who can't make it to the stadium. But they want to be part of the tournament. I mean, how are you bringing them together to be part of the tournament? And you believe those are some of the activities. Hopefully, they are planning in that direction, especially since now this is a continental engagement.
I'm imagining that. I wish they could actually include, like, say, fans tournaments. You know, something about fans tournaments is I believe if there's a fans tournament, Uganda will play Kenya everywhere. Like
It doesn't matter which sport, as long as it is Kenya.
As long as it's Kenya, like Uganda will play Kenya. Like you'll find Uganda is playing Kenya in Kenya, and Uganda will be playing Kenya in Uganda because like there are many of us either side
in those places. Yeah.
So like we need some of those. And you see, funny thing about fans tournaments is that your country doesn't even need to qualify. For some reason, like as long as there are people from that place.
I mean, Somalia didn't qualify, but if you said you have a fans tournament, even in Kenya, Tanzania, or Uganda, I mean, Somalia will be able to assemble a team or even 2 teams.
Yes, so like I think the sponsors should be thinking around those areas as a way of involving the fans. One, considering the fact that Ugandans are people that love fun, and considering the fact that we use our bus spaces, fans tournaments are not usually that serious that they happen in a stadium. Like they could happen in the backyard. So like I believe it's something that they should include.
Is it okay for us to warn the people who are coming for this tournament, to warn them about our sisters, or we should just let them find out for themselves?
I don't even know what to say. Like, we tell them to leave our sisters alone.
Not to leave, to be careful. To be careful, anything can happen. Because you've come to spend on yourself, you might just end up spending on a sister, and you barely spend on yourself.
And yeah, she might take the passport with it.
And you're broke within days.
You're broke within days.
Yet you planned for a month.
And then we do a car wash for you to go back.
So I think it's important to warn, as we wind up this show, Andrew, to warn our African brothers, especially those who will be in Uganda.
One, as long as they are not forcing them to spend, just know they have a way of making you spend.
Our sisters will force you to spend.
Our sisters will force you to spend. And then we shall have to do a car wash for you to go back, because you do not even have what it takes to go back to your country.
So there's every need to be extra careful.
I think whoever is coming will have a return ticket. At least we can find a way of pushing you up to Entebbe.
To the airport.
Yes.
Yeah, you might have a return ticket, but you lost your passport.
Yeah, there is that.
You can't call people back home.
Things have been very, very funny, and it's not even just like ordinary people. Like there are celebrities that have come to Uganda, and time comes when they have to leave and no one knows where they are.
They didn't sleep at their hotel. Their manager or the promoter responsible doesn't know where they are.
Like they do not know where they are. And then they're like, hey, guys in a different hotel. And you're like,
how did he end up there?
How did he end up there?
So on that note, our African brothers who are coming for the African Nations Championship in Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, particularly in Uganda, please, 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 and please be extra careful when you are dealing with our Ugandan sisters. Andrew, unless you have closing remarks.
One, just come and enjoy Uganda. Uganda is indeed the pearl of Africa. You will love the weather. You will love the food. You will love the people. Just come through. Just come. Even if your country is not playing in Uganda, just show up in Uganda. You will not regret it. And I mean, I think it's a very good place to come when like they drop your country. Like when your country is eliminated, you just cross to Uganda.
Just cross to Uganda.
Yeah, just
actually, it won't make a lot of sense for you to come for this tournament and you stop in Nairobi or Dar es Salaam or Zanzibar and go back to your country without spending a day or two
in Uganda,
in Kampala, Uganda. But that's all the time we had for you on this episode. Clive Chazea, been in good company of Andrew Kaggwa, journalist with the Daily Monitor. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back with more of these kinds of episodes.